remember this black lady used our service, and she left us a 2-star review, and she said, I wanted to use them because they was black and they sucked. And I was like, it wasn't your goal to use a black service. Your goal was to say that you used a black service and say that it was a bad service, that you could talk about it after. It was like, how many lessons do you want? I was like, I'm not stopping until I feel comfortable with this.
I also don't feel like everyone needs a business or everyone should have a business because people don't know how to run it.
And I don't want to pressure anyone to have to build a business. I'm like, yo, I want you to just make money outside your job. That was the person that started this business said, my goal is to get you this.
To get John a bad this.
To get John a bad product or service. If you want to have options outside your job and you want to have unlimited earning potential, I think building your personal brand, like that's what you need to be doing. That's another thing people mess up on.
If we had to do this again, would you ever do a faceless brand?
No.
You wouldn't do a faceless brand?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the More Than a Side Hustle podcast, where we help 9-to-5ers create more impact, income, and influence outside their jobs. And today is no different. My name is Anthony.
And I am Janoka. Thank you guys for joining us week after week after week. We are coming up on 100 episodes soon.
Yes, we are consistent. What do you guys want to see for the 100th episode? How about that? Drop us a comment on YouTube, or
we put like 100 behind us.
We might do some balloons, but listen, you guys should drop us some comments. Let us know what you want to see us do for the 100th episode, whether it's a live podcast where we go, we do YouTube live, or we do Q&A or something like that, or just clips of the most monumental moments we've had.
Oh, the podcast. That would be good.
My editor's going to be pissed about that.
Gives me a little break from talking.
If he goes to, we're gonna have to intro the episode anyway.
Highlights. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for joining. Make sure you're subscribing, sharing, letting other people know what we're doing, what we're talking about week after week. We are coming through your sound systems. I feel like I'm a radio anchor.
That's part of it. When you create a podcast, man, you are showing up in people's ears every single week. And it's funny because I was just literally waiting for a podcast to release on. I go to the gym on Fridays, and the podcast usually release on Thursday night. So by the time I'm in the gym on Fridays, the podcast is there. I listen to it in the gym. And it did not release. And it's normally there ready to go at 7 in the morning or 8 when I'm in the gym. And it didn't release. And I was like, what's going on over there? Yeah, I'm like, hopefully everything's okay. So you guys who are listening to this, you are a huge part of what we do. Mm-hmm. And we realize that we have become a part of some of you guys' lives every single week. So we take this stuff very seriously. We've been showing up consistently.
One thing is, I'm going to need you to close that door.
All right, cool. I'm going to do that.
Yeah. I'm sitting here like, I don't want Alani to wake up. We're in our studio, so.
This is one of the best things about having an in-house studio. We was like, all right, we're going to record when Alani is asleep for her nap, and we're going to get it done every single week. So if you guys are new here, we are the Hard Zugs again, and our job today is to help you think about ways to create income outside your jobs. And we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about
in a literal sense too. But I want to celebrate Alani. She's been in swimming since January, and we are now
Who's Alani?
So 8 months. Alani's our daughter, sorry. We're 8 months into her swimming, and she's improving every week. This week specifically, she did amazing. I mean, it's like as if you knew how to do it all the time, you just wasn't doing it. That's basically it. But we knew that she knew how to do it. Sometimes when we go to swimming, she's like crying, and the teacher's like, oh, well, she's to get a bit more comfortable in the water. I'm like, she is. Like, we go to the pool, we go to the beach, she has no issues. I just think it's the environment of all that's going on, because there's a lot happening when we go.
Environment's important.
She was able to hit all her milestones that they expect from her, do it without any issue, and saying yay and smiling, and just a different child. So congratulations to Alani on that.
And it's funny because I started picking up swimming lessons as well myself. It was something I started swimming lessons about
2016. We did
2016. We did swimming lessons, and it's one of the things I picked up, and then I just stopped doing it. And this time around, I said, I'm going to take it more seriously. So when the instructor was like, how many lessons do you want? I was like, I'm not stopping until I feel comfortable with this. And she's like, what is, and the funny thing is, she asked me what was my goals before we started. And I think that's very important in deciding what this looks like for you. So no matter what you're doing. So we're going to talk about creating income, maximizing your income potential outside your 9-to-5. And one of the things she asked me, like, what was your goal? What are your goals before you start? And I said, I want to be comfortable in the water. And she said, okay, what does comfort look like to you? Do you want to put your head underwater because you're doing that? Do you want to be able to, dive in the water? Do you want to be able to jump off a board? Like, what does it look like? And I said, being comfortable to me means knowing that I'm in the water and I'm not going to drown. And then she's like, okay, that's a very good starting point. She's like, I'm going to get you there with no problem, but then we got to push your goals. Yeah, we're going to have to keep going because that's more of a mental thing. She's like, I'll help you get there as soon as possible. But a lot of that's going to be your mentality, how you take this.
Oh my God. You know what I'm thinking about, right? Hawaii.
I have no idea.
I'm just thinking about Hawaii. We're not going to get into it, but back.
I thought I was comfortable then.
Yeah. We had took swimming lessons, and a year later we had went to Hawaii, and this man jumped into the ocean and things went left quickly.
It went left. I don't know.
But he's here today. So there's
I don't know
that.
why I did that, and I thought I had it. And the funny thing is I felt like I had it, but I just didn't get there.
Yeah, that's a big, I mean, I'm not a swimmer, but I ain't jumping in the ocean without a life vest.
See,
personally.
To me, I don't know if I need to, that's not going to be one of my goals. I don't think jumping into the ocean is going to be one of my goals, but one of my goals may be being in a pool where it's 10 feet and I feel comfortable there. Yeah. I start doing laps, and then, all right, we get our swag up, and then maybe I start jumping off of boats, off the catamaran.
Yeah, though the yachts will be on.
Yeah. That's you gotta know your goals from the very beginning. So we're going to be talking about unlocking your income potential, maximizing and monetizing your skills beyond your 9 to 5, because we always say you have to have options. And
yes,
I had tweeted that this is actually a pretty good tweet. And I like when I go fake viral on Twitter.
So you retweeted somebody or you wrote the tweet?
My tweets are my own. So I tweeted that, what is the tweet? Let me see. It was a good one too. I should have had it.
Well, why you look for that?
Okay.
You got it?
No, I was like,
oh, okay. While you look for that, the thing about this is we also on one side say that not everyone should have a business, but then on the other side, we speak about also having options, which essentially this is a business. Even if it's a side hustle, it is a business in some capacity. Maybe not as big, maybe small, whatever the case may be, it still is a business. So I kind of toy with this in that, yes, I do feel everyone needs something outside of their 9 to 5, but I also don't feel like everyone needs a business or everyone should have a business because people don't know how to run it. So
my tweet was, I said, a lot of people don't realize the skills that they have at their job are transferable to their own thing outside their job. And there's a lot of things that we do at our 9 to 5s that we don't even know that will be applicable to the things we start. So this is not going to be one of those things where you got to like build a business. It's going to be one of those things where we want you to create income outside your jobs. And we're going to talk about some ways that you can monetize the skills that you already have at your job or even outside your job, whether it's personal life, things you enjoy, hobbies that could make you money outside the job. So that's what we're going to talk about today and the importance of that as well.
Well, I was going to say, what did you think about what I said? You completely dismissed it.
About what?
About it being like, essentially you're taking on another business versus it like having something outside of your 9 to 5. Do you not think everything becomes a business eventually? I feel like everything that I've heard people speak about that is outside of their 9 to 5 becomes a business.
It depends on how far you want to take it. I don't want to pressure anyone to have to build a business. I'm like, yo, I want you to just make money outside your job. I don't want you to have to go establish your LLC and have to go establish business credit and have to build the business name and all of that stuff. I just want you to start making money outside your job so that you have the option to do what you want to do. Now, you make the decision based on where you want to take it or how big you want this thing to grow, and where you want this business to go. Do
people say pause outside of New York?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, okay.
After Cameron and Jim Jones came back, everybody is saying pause again. And I'm like, I'm 37.
I never heard nobody say pause outside of New York.
They've been saying this.
Okay, it's the thing. I just wonder.
But you're thinking about building income outside your job, and it doesn't have to be
a business. You're saying.
Like,
okay.
We're not going to talk about how to build a business right now. We're going to talk about just making money outside your job based on things you like, but then also monetizing your skills.
So first thing is always identifying strengths and weaknesses, or what do people usually ask you about? What are you interested in? What do you feel like wouldn't be a hassle for you that you're like, I'm doing this, but it feels draining to me, right? Something that you can continue to do. For example, like we said, we always speak about how we used to work at the gym, and we had a goal behind that, to pay off our debt. However, the gym was enjoyable. I didn't not like the gym at all. I mean, we got free membership, so that helped it as well. But I'm also a people person, so being at the front desk, it wasn't an issue. Our management was fine. So it was a positive experience. That's what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. So things that you may be interested in, but also that provides like a positive experience so that you're not feeling upset about it. Like you don't want to add it on as a second job. They're like, oh, gotta go do this now. And let me go drive this Uber.
That's not what we're talking about today. Like my one of my first things that I did outside my job, I was an IT professional. One of the first things I did outside my job was helping elderly people like use technology to, create websites or create social media platforms and stuff like that. So that was very important for me, utilizing the skills that I already had in my job and just doing it outside my job. So that now I'm making money doing essentially not the same thing, but I'm using the skills of my job to create income outside my job. We're going to talk about how do you explore income generating opportunities. So one of the things that you need to do is decide, are you going to be either freelancing, consulting, or even going the full entrepreneurship route? So there are three, and you think about it, does it sound like the same thing? It can be, there's blurred lines. So someone that's a freelancer is, let's say,
I think they're similar to a contractor.
Yeah, so someone that's a freelancer, also consulting could be a contractor role. But a freelancer is like, let's say I work at a job and I do graphic design. Well, now I work with other companies and I help them do graphic design or help them do art. So that's a way that you could use what you're already doing to create those more income generating opportunities. Consulting was a big one. I was literally talking to one of my frat brothers about this. And I said, you ever thought about just consulting for these companies instead of working for them? I was like, consulting means you're a contractor role. They bring you in when they need you. You usually make more money when you contract companies too. Wasn't that one of your things? Want to talk about that?
No.
Earlier on in your career, we could talk about that.
Yeah, but I don't speak about it in detail. But yeah, I used to contract essentially as a therapist, basically.
Yeah.
And they pay a lot more. They pay what they would pay doctors, $100+ an hour. So yeah, you definitely can make double the amount if that's something you're interested in. Once and again, going back to what you do already, like it doesn't have to be something brand new. So for example, a teacher, they have multiple avenues that they can go through. Maybe they can do online tutoring. Maybe they can do teaching for people in homeschool. There's different ways that you can go about things while still adding on income for you and your family.
That's a big one. Also, I was thinking about that with your mother too, because one of our friends had a situation with their school, and it was like, your mother needs to open up her own school, like whether it be like a daycare or something like that. But you would make so much more money doing a thing on your own. But a lot of people just don't want to take that step, and I know it can.
I understand that. Yeah,
it's not as easy as we make it seem. But even if you just started doing it outside of school, where it's like, all right, I'm gonna take on one kid and just tutor them, and then you just start making more money.
You get referrals.
Yeah, you get referrals, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna take this thing more seriously. And then also on the entrepreneurship side of things, it's like, all right, freelancing would be, I'm just teaching on the side or whatever. Consulting would be, all right, I'm helping, moms and families build curriculums, and entrepreneurship would be like, all right, I'm going to now build my own at-home school or daycare or something like that.
I think another way that you explore things is essentially through social media. I feel like in this day and age, there's always people or someone talking about different ways that you can make money and see if it makes sense for you. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. There's more popular ones I find in our community. More popular ones I hear about in our community is really like Turo, vending machines, and maybe Airbnb. But there's tons of other things that you can get into that may not necessarily be a business venture, but just something else for you to bring in money. Like you said, could you just work OT at your job? Maybe. Maybe that brings you more money in another department if it's possible. Maybe it's kind of like what you said, just using what you have and taking it somewhere else on a part-time basis or as needed for you. So
yeah. And like building your personal brand is another one too. I still think that everyone should be creating content, no matter what you do.
So everyone needs to have money, get money outside their job, and creating content. Anything else everybody needs to be doing?
All right, I see where you're going with that.
It's just a lot. It becomes a lot.
All right. I feel like if you're looking to create money,
I would like to, yeah.
If you would like to if you want to have options outside your job and you want to have unlimited earning potential, I think building your personal brand, like that's what you need to be doing. So I'm gonna give you guys some examples, right? I got a group of friends right now, and they have jobs, but then they also do these things outside their jobs. Like one does training. I got a few trainers in my life, so you can choose. And I said, if you build a brand with creating content about personal training and you build the digital side of that business, you will be able to have unlimited clients. And I know creating content is not the easiest thing with building a personal brand, I'm like, you're already doing it anyway. You're already in the gym. You're already working out. You're already giving advice. You're already having conversations, consultations. Why not just record what you're already doing and post it, let people, and then another thing is letting people know what you're doing. That's another thing people mess up on. They don't ever let anyone know. It's like, yeah, I work out, but we don't know if you're taking clients. We don't know how much it costs. We don't know how you train other people. We just see results and we just see you. And it's like, if you build that personal brand saying, who am I? What do I do? What my prices are? How do I even reach out to you? Now you're creating a funnel where people can come and say, all right, I know what you do. I know the results you get. I know how much you charge. I know how to get with you online. So I feel like everyone that's creating income outside their jobs need to have a personal brand. What's your thoughts? Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because if we had to do this again, would you ever do a faceless brand?
No.
You wouldn't do a faceless brand?
Absolutely not.
Why not? Depends. We had a whole episode on this.
So our cleaning business is one of those examples where there's no face to that brand.
Right.
So that is a faceless brand, and I like the fact of what it is. But if you want to go, I think you go a lot farther when you have a personal brand, though.
Okay.
Because now
people want to know who you are. They connect in that way.
So if you think about all the most recent people who've made like hundreds of millions of dollars, they've done so with their personal brands.
With who they are. That's exactly what's selling them to brands and people.
So like we talk about Kylie all the time.
I got some TikTokers that I can name. And
Kylie Jenner, she became a multi-hundred millionaire off of Kylie Cosmetics and other things as a personal brand. The Rock, we spoke about The Rock as well too. He was like, I want to do wrestling, I want to do acting, but he built his personal brand in wrestling first before he did anything. He became the top wrestler. He became the top personal brand in wrestling. He became the top movie star. He created the quickest selling tequila over his personal brand.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart follows the same suite. We spoke about Kevin Hart before. Same thing. He became the top grossing movie star, top comedian, top personal brand. So if you're going to build something outside your job and you want to make money, the stronger your personal brand is, the stronger people can align with you, with who you are, the more income I'd say you make.
And then I know that some people say, which is probably true, that it's a bit easier now to build a following on a social media platform just due to things going viral, right? Back in the day, I guess things did go viral, but not the way that it does now. Not the way that it spreads like wildfire now, in that people were literally building like 5 people following me this week, like a little way slower than it can be now. So you can put content out there and build a community. You can even run ads at this point. Back then you couldn't do that, and you get more eyes on you and more people to follow you. So I know some people say, well, I feel like getting started now it would take me forever. And not necessarily. I think that it's a bit, not necessarily easier, but it can be quicker than it was previously to build a brand on social media platforms.
Yeah, even if you think about just the monetization side of it. So like YouTube now they lowered the amount of hours you got to have now. It used to be 4,000 watch hours. Now they lowered it. They lowered the amount of subscribers now because, all right, people are hitting that with no problem. So it doesn't make sense to have such a high goal. We had to get 4,000 hours and we had to get 1,000 subscribers, and it took us forever to get there on YouTube. Now we make a couple hundred from YouTube every month just by posting the videos we were already doing here, which is a good plug for you guys to follow and watch the podcast on youtube.com/
sprinkle stuff in there.
The Heart Ceremony. You can watch the More Than a Side Hustle podcast. You can watch some of the vlogs we do, lifestyle stuff, the coaching on the digital business.
Buying a mom a car.
You bought our mother a car, we posted on YouTube. So you're only doing these things. You're building a personal brand. And even going back to our story, when we started building our personal brand and we really started taking it seriously, like one of the first platforms we were on was like Black Wealth Renaissance. If you guys don't know who Black Wealth Renaissance is, it's an amazing group of entrepreneurs. They're actually our friends. And they were one of the first big brands who promoted our stuff. They was like, hey.
That was our first speaking engagement.
That was our first speaking engagement. We were on their page. They got 500,000 followers. So you guys need to follow Black Wealth Renaissance. And, they talk about Black entrepreneurship. And one of our first graphics says, Black couple in Dallas, Texas builds 6-figure cleaning business outside their job. And they posted it on their page. People started saying, oh, what is this? What is this? I want to know more about this. So that's another thing, just reaching out to other people in your space and just, getting promo spots, being on their page, being on their podcast. That's how you build your personal brand. So if you have a 9-to-5 and you're looking to create that income outside of it, building that personal brand can definitely help you get there faster.
Which brings us to the next point about marketing and kind of selling your services, if you will, whatever that service may look like. Obviously, doing some type of market research, I don't find that anything that you are going to invent or anything that you're going to do is new in this day and age. Probably not. Somebody has done it somewhere on YouTube or TikTok that you can look it up and see what they're charging or what their thoughts are, or do a quick hashtag search. Like, there's information out there. So for you, I don't want anybody telling me, well, I don't know how to price or where to start. Start there by looking it up, so you know how to price yourself and what makes sense to other people. And then eventually, like with anything, you begin to raise your pricing because you have some social proof behind you. You're maybe getting testimonials and things, and people are seeing results and stuff like that. So eventually you do raise your price. You're not at the same price you started at. I mean, we surely aren't at the same price we started at. And that goes, I think, with anybody. With what you charge people to be somewhere and also what you're charging your clients, it can't remain the same. I mean, look at inflation. There's no way. Yeah. There is no way. So
there was this this guy had posted it. Funny, it was a year ago this week, or whenever you guys are watching. It was a year ago today, whenever we're recording this. And the post said, we sent out an email. He responded, your price is too high. And it was like the very next day, I was like, oh, raising the price. And now the price has since doubled, says his email. And you sitting there waiting because you think the price is too high. Well, what is the price now? What is the price going to be in a year? And the longer you wait to start something, the longer it's going to take you to get to where you want to be in a shorter time you have to enjoy it.
But I think a lot of people, the reason why people second guess that pricing thing is kind of that, they're like, it's going to be too expensive. And I always say expensive is relative. Cheap is definitely relative. What is expensive to one person is cheap to another person. So, price it, people will come, and you can figure out the rest later. But I think what's also important when it comes to you marketing and you doing something beyond your 9 to 5 is also remembering, on both sides, I feel, remembering, the customer service side of it, that you are providing a service, you still need to maintain some type of professionalism. On the other side of it, I find that customers also need to kind of give grace at times also, the same way we would to any other place. So that's something that's important when you are marketing and selling your skills, not to forget the essence of something is the customer service.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I forgot what the hell it was. But this client, there was I forgot what it was. I don't know who it was or what it was about. But essentially, they said if you own a business or you have a product or service is something you're selling, they said you should be more empathetic to that person if something goes wrong. Because they said if you've owned a business product or service, do you think and let's say like the cleaning service, right? And you own a business and the cleaning wasn't up to par or the service wasn't up to par, do you think the person who created that product or service
did that on purpose?
It was their goal in life to give you a bad service, or give you a bad cleaning, or to give you a faulty product.
I never thought of it that way.
Do you think that was the person that started this business said, my goal is to get you this?
To get John a bad this.
To give John a bad product or service. That's my goal. That's the reason I started my company. Or they said, is it possible that the end person at the end goal of that product or service that was delivering it, they had a bad day? They had a one-off. They had a situation. They showed up to work in a bad mood. They just had their I don't know, they just got something that went wrong in their life and they had to be at work that day. And at the end result, the customer's probably like, well, it's not my problem that this happened. Agreed. But at the end of the day, we have to give people the graces to make mistakes. I remember this
biggest thing.
I remember this black lady used our service and she left us a 2-star review. And she said, I wanted to use them because they was black and they sucked. And then funny thing is we called you, we texted you, we emailed you, we reached out to you right after the service and make sure we rectify whatever issues you had. And she went right to social media with it. She went right to Yelp and Instagram and stuff like that. Like that was the end goal.
Because grace doesn't mean that you don't say anything. Grace means that maybe you saying give another opportunity, or you saying, you let somebody know to help them better their company, and you keep it pushing. And like you mentioned with that leaving a review thing, that's a big thing for me. I think with having a business, that if something goes wrong where I'm at a business, I'm like, this is just not working out. I personally do not leave bad reviews because I don't leave good reviews. That is always my measure. And I'm like, if I'm like, oh, I need to leave a review, I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't leave it if it was positive, which most of us will not. So that's what stopped me from going to leave the negative review, because I'm like, that's not fair to any business. Because when it was a good time, I didn't say nothing about nobody. I just kept it moving. I paid my bill and kept it moving. It was like, oh, that's a good restaurant, right?
Yeah.
I didn't say anything, right? So that's another way that I kind of measure myself, at least, as to how I operate. I can just let the person know, and it is what it is. Just not go back. Like
Someone said that instead of me leaving after I tweeted that, it was like, instead of me leaving a 1-star review, I'll leave a 5-star review and I'll put something in it that makes somebody read it. And then I'll get a comment back from the owner, or I'll get a call or a text or something. And their goal will be to find out what happened. Most of the time, as a CEO, as the owner, as an operations manager, whatever it is, your goal is going to be to satisfy the client.
Yeah.
Like, no one's intentionally putting out crappy products and services. Like, people have bad days. So when you're starting your business or you're starting this thing outside your jobs, just know it's not going to be easy. But at the end of the day, remember, you're trying to create options for yourself. So like, trying to find customers is, how do I market myself? Like you mentioned social media. We mentioned going on other people's pages. Like I said, Black Wolf Renaissance. Like, you putting yourself out there so that people could find you. What about asking family or friends? Like, would they try your service? Would they give you an opportunity? And then start reaching out from your network from there, because I guarantee you there's somebody in your network that needs your service. They just don't know you deliver it. They don't know what service you have because you never spoke about it before.
But yeah, that customer service, child. Next thing is just, if this is something that is scaling, managing your finances, which is so important, because the cleaning business was our first business. So we did not have a CPA or any type of money management in place. I mean, we were paying off our debt, so we were good with money. We can say that. But in regards to professional services and having to know what to pay here, like, we didn't know we had to pay sales tax at the time. Like, so these things are important, especially with starting something that you're starting to make money, that the government gonna be like, all right, I need my cut of it, right? Anytime you're making some type of money on the side, they're like, oh, wait, don't go too far. I need you to pay me too. So making sure you either hire someone, you're either doing research or something along those lines, to be thinking about your budgeting, your saving, your tax considerations, what the income looks like, all that type of stuff, I think is really important with whatever you decide to do when it comes to money, because the government will be there.
Okay? I think one of the first things you need to do when you're starting something outside your job, and especially at your job, they manage everything for you. They take out the taxes, they take out the Medicaid, they take out the Medicare, they put it in your Social Security, like all of that stuff. But if you start making money outside your job, no one is going to do that but you. So this is a good book, Profit First, by Mike Michalowicz. As you can tell, I went up and down this thing. Like, this is
and uncircled and highlighted.
This book is read through a few times. So Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. He talks about just transforming your business from a cash-eating monster to a money-making machine. And this is even just for side hustlers, people that's making income outside their job, because someone will knock on your door one day and ask you for that money that you made. And they want a piece of it. And when they want their piece, they want their piece. So Profit First, he teaches you how to manage your money from a profit first perspective, but then also how to set taxes aside, how to set income expenses aside, how to set your income, your expenses aside, how to set your sales tax. Like, how do you take profit from your business?
I was just going to say
how do you take income from your business? Like, he's telling you all these things to do from a very beginning stage, so that you could say, okay, I made $100. I'm going to put 20% aside. I'm going to put 30%. We were putting 30% aside early on. So we're putting $30 aside from that. We're going to put 10% back in. We're going to save this 10%. We're going to invest this 10%. Like, he's telling you what to do based on the stages of your business. So I definitely recommend you doing watching or reading or audibling Profit First by Mike Michalowicz to kind of get you on the right path when you start making money outside your job. So make sure you read Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. Super helpful.
One of the last things that we have when it comes to monetizing your skills beyond is, I mean, you just kind of touched on it, some of it, but overcoming challenges and staying motivated. So it's like, don't start something until you know your why. And your why is probably like, well, I just need more money. And for some people, it's just as simple as that. I just need more money to survive, and that's okay. But it is going to become challenging. There is going to be times where you feel like it's not worth it, or you feel like it's taking too much time, or it's moving slow, which is like, what is slow? Like, who are you comparing yourself to? And nobody really has the answer to that generally. And you need to stay motivated. Now, what does staying motivated look like? Because we've had those times where like, oh, this page grew quicker than ours, or, you need to stay motivated by maybe having someone that holds you accountable. So maybe you have someone that you can speak to about what you're doing, or friends and family in the group setting that can hold you accountable. And whatever it is that you're chasing, so whatever the goal is, hopefully is that important that keeps you going. So if it is as simple as like, I just need to make more money, is that enough to keep you going, doing whatever it is that you're doing outside of it, like working that OT or whatever the case may be, working at that gym for $9 an hour? Is that enough for you to do that? Or whatever you decide to pick up, I should say.
Yeah, knowing what that goal is super crucial, because if you are working at that gym for $9 an hour like we were, we knew, all right, the goal is to make an extra $500 to $1,000 a month to pay off our debt. If you're like, all right, I'm going to stop working OT at this other spot so I can build my own thing, well, the goal would be, how much money can I make instead of me doing that OT? Can I make up any money on my own during that time? So let's say you were making $500 a month doing OT at this other job, and you're like, I want to start my own thing. My first goal is to make maybe not $500 a month. Maybe it's half the amount of money or a fraction of that amount of money. But then now I have all my time back.
Yeah.
So I can think about growing. So I can think about scaling. So I can think about what this looks like over the next couple of weeks, months, or even years.
That was you.
So it was like,
that was you with the gym. Once we paid off the debt, you were like, deuces.
I was done.
Yeah, you're like, I'm no longer motivated to be here. I'm good. I got what I needed, and that's it. And that's fine.
Yeah, sometimes things are for a season. So if you start something outside your job, like one of our, I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. I don't know what you're talking
So,
about.
because like, again, I think we have so much skills. We have so many skills that we use in our 9 to 5s that could be transferable. Like if you do marketing for your 9 to 5 job, you know how valuable that skill is outside your job to everyone else in the world. Actually, not at our jobs. We can only serve the people they make us serve, that they only give us. And sometimes we have non-competes where we can't even serve anyone else.
Yeah.
Right. That may be like one of my friends. I wanted them to do our like LLC formations for our students. That's like, yeah, I can't do that. And I was like, you know how much money you would make if you could do that? Mm-hmm. And then you started, I'm always telling somebody to start their own thing, but I can't. Everybody.
This is why I started this conversation with, does everything that be outside of your 9 to 5 end up being a business?
It doesn't have to be, though.
It doesn't have to be. But what example do you have that it's not? That's what I'm saying. Everybody that I know that started something, it has become that. Maybe.
It depends on how you define. To me, a business is.
Yeah, how do you define it? LLC.
Business is you.
Mean?
No, to me, when it's. Look up the definition of a business. Like, like
now it's on me.
Yeah, business. Let's literally Google what the definition of business
is. Business.
Business is a practice of making one's living or making money by producing a product or buying and selling products.
Okay, well then everybody has a business. There you go.
An organization or enterprising entity engaged in commercial, industrial, or professional activities. Business can be non-profits or for-profits. Business range from LLCs, sole proprietorships, corporations, or partnerships. Mm-hmm. So you're not making a living. If you don't want to make a living off this, it's not a business. How about that? But listen, our goal is to help you create options. So there are
and the way to do it.
And the way to do it. So if you have a skill at your job, which all of us do, there is something that you do every single day that could be transferable. Imagine sales. You stay on the phone for doing a sales role at your current job. Imagine if you start doing your own sales for a private company outside of that. Mm-hmm. So there are so many skills we have that we just don't even think about that are transferable outside of our jobs.
I don't disagree. I think almost every job that I can think of, at least with friends and family, they can make a lot more money outside of it. But that takes a lot. It takes a lot more effort. Sometimes you just want to show up. I just want to show up at work. So just tell me what to do.
Let me give you an example. One of our students who went through we had a delete the debt program back in 2017, 18. We used to help people like pay off their debt. We had a challenge with, it was maybe 18, 19. So we had a group of people who were paying off debt. And one of the ways that one guy was paying off debt was by doing like paid surveys. He was doing like paid surveys. And I was like, yo, you need to turn this, you need to start making money off of this. Start teaching somebody these skills. Mm-hmm. Because it's important. It's an important skill to have just to make money outside of your job. Now, this is not saying a business. This is just you helping people get to that goal.
You're just not calling it that. But.
It's not a business. You start teaching people this skill that you have accumulated over the course of these years. And this is 4 or 5 years ago, whatever the time frame was. And then now you do this skill and it's starting to make other people money. Mm-hmm. Because now you're teaching people the skill that you had for 4 or 5 years. And now it's making other people money. Now at this point, it could become a business. Mm-hmm. Back then, it was just you helping people to create income outside their jobs. So that would be the difference between the two.
But once again, thank you for listening to another episode of the, I'm supposed to say Heart Talk Hustle podcast.
It's always going to be the Heart Talk Hustle.
More Than a Side Hustle podcast. If you're new here, that was our previous name. So More Than a Side Hustle podcast. We appreciate you listening week after week, and we're going to keep it coming.
If you guys are still listening or still watching, please leave us a 5-star review if you feel like this is a 5-star podcast on your favorite Apple, Spotify, Google player. And just also subscribe to the YouTube where we give you dope visuals. You can see us, you can see the lighting, the background, all that stuff. So
Facial expression.
appreciate you guys being here for another week. We will see you next week.
Take care.
Peace.